Weekly Consideration, portion 30, Kedoshim. 128.8.19, semicolon 76, semicolon 1, full 9. Speaking silence with each one. Kedoshim towards a tender child. Ridvan from preceding week, Seva days, Medya Sharen. Greetings, my holy kinfolk. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mir, jai janindra, satnam, ni hao, buenos dias, hithche. Konnichiwa, sabadi krab, salangwa, esh, agape, akwaba, vokmin, werabdo. Spring settles within. Green grass grows longer, with yellow dandelions and white flowers. Steady breezes run by enlarging tree buds, leaves, meadows, forest. Static within the sanctuary propels contrast and harmony, eventually with grace of Elohim. High blue skies, hazy white clouds, quiet bicycles. Seagull wings perch upon rooftops, blue receptacles, black receptacles, and fencing. Staircases, dining tables, lawn chairs, baskets, circling within the skies and soaring around Kinse. This is the weekly consideration for portion 30 Kedoshim within our yearly cycle of studying Tobari Kokada. This includes verses 172 a 190 within the Kitabi Akdas of Baha'i tradition, the 10th of a 10-week series of a full recitation of the Kitabi Akdas. The weekly consideration is speaking silence with each one. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu Akbar. Dao kada fe chong dao min kaming fe chong ming ja. Deus nostre qui es in cielo sanctificato nomen tuum. Vaheguru sanam. Baruch ata Elohim Eloheinu melech haolam asher katzanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivan l'sok b'rvai Torah. Amen. Kyrie eleison. Siva mastu savejikatehim. Sabe sata bovantu sukitatam. Fagabia. Aquaba upendo na amanim. Fakir ina salami. Chinta dan peramian. Le bovamir. Womajigam. Ubuntu shabana fakithga. Sheshe. Kamasunira. Domo arigato. Pilama yelo wakantoko. Toko doku shingun. Gomanagan. God, we thank you for all that you bless us. Ata jami ata fanami. Mado. Aho. Om shanti shanti shanti. Amen. Vaikra 19:17 a 18 from Torah. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall surely rebuke your fellow, but you shall not bear a sin on his account. You shall neither take revenge nor bear a grudge against the members of your people. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Elohim. One ahava v'shalom. From the Chandogya Upanishad, Kanda 4:16, Verily the being who moves along the air is the offering, for the being moving along purifies everything. And because moving along the being purifies everything, the being is the offering. Of that offering, the mind and speech are the two ways. One Ananda Shanti. From the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhakti Yoga He 12, 8 a 11. Fix your mind on me alone, rest your thought on me alone, and in me alone you will live hereafter. Of this there is no doubt. If you are unable to fix your mind on me, O Dhananjaya, then seek to reach me by the yoga of constant practice. If you are incapable of constant practice, then devote yourself to me in service, for even by rendering service to me you will attain perfection. If you are unable to do even this, then be self-controlled. Surrender the fruit of all action and take refuge in me. One Ananda Shanti. From the Tao Te Ching, 32:1 a 8 and 33:1 a 2. 32. The Tao, eternally nameless, its simplicity, although imperceptible, cannot be treated by the world as subservient. If the sovereign can hold on to it, All will follow by themselves. Heaven and earth together in harmony will rain a sweet dew. People will not need to force it. It will adjust by itself. 33. Those who understand others are intelligent. Those who understand themselves are enlightened. 1 Ayah Heping. From Mencius, Book 10, Chapter 1, Verse 8. The Minister of Agriculture taught the people to sow and reap, cultivating the 5 kinds of grain. Then the five kinds of grain were brought to maturity. When the 5 kinds of grain were brought to maturity, the people all obtained a subsistence. But again, Chapter 10, Book 1, Chapter 8. Book 10, Chapter 1, Verse 8. The Minister of Agriculture taught the people to sow and reap, cultivating the 5 kinds of grain. When the 5 kinds of grain were brought to maturity, the people all obtained a subsistence. But men possess a virtuous nature, and if they are well fed, warmly clad, and comfortably lodged, without being taught at the same time, they become almost like the beasts. This was a subject of anxious solicitude to the sage Shun, and he appointed Xie to be the minister of instruction, to teach the relations of humanity, how between far and son there should be affection, between sovereign and minister righteousness, between husband and wife attention to their separate functions, between old and young a proper order, and between friends fidelity. The high meritorious sovereign said to him, encourage them, lead them on, rectify them, straighten them, help them, give them wings, thus causing them to become possessors of themselves. Then follow this up by stimulating them and conferring benefits on them. When the sages were exercising their solicitude for the people in this way, had they leisure to cultivate the ground. One Ayah Heping. From the Digha Nikaya, the Janavasabha Sutta 18:19. This was the matter of Brahma Sanam Kumara's speech, and he spoke it with a voice of 8-fold characteristics, in a voice that was fluent, intelligible, sweet, audible, continuous, distinct, deep, and resonant. And whereas Master Brahma Sanam Kumara communicated with that assembly by his voice, the sound thereof did not penetrate beyond the assembly. He whose voice has the 8 characteristics is said to be Brahma-voiced. 1 Metta Samadhi. From the Dhammapada, the Chittavajra 3:35-36. Wonderful indeed it is to subdue the mind, so difficult to subdue, ever swift in seizing whatever it desires. A tamed mind brings happiness. Let the discerning man guard the mind, so difficult to detect and extremely subtle, seizing whatever it desires. A guarded mind brings happiness. 1 Metta Samadhi. From the Gospels, Luke 16, 8 a 13. The master commended the dishonest manager because he acted shrewdly, for the people of this world are further shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, utilize worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? And if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. 1 Amor Epax. 1 Amor Epax. From the Quran, Surah Yasin 36, 33 a 36. A sign for them is the earth that is dead. We do give it life and produce grain therefrom, of which ye do eat. And we produce therein orchards with date palms and vines, and we cause springs to gush forth therein, that they may enjoy the fruits of this artistry. It was not their hands that made this. Will they not then give thanks? Glory to Allah, who created and pairs all things that the earth produces, as well as their own humankind and other things of which they have no knowledge. From the Kitab Yaqtas, verse 189. O members of parliaments throughout the world, select ye a single language for the utilization of all on earth, and adopt ye likewise a common script. God verily maketh plain for you that which shall benefit you and enable you to be independent of others. God of a truth is the most bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-informed. This will be the cause of unity, could ye but comprehend it, and the greatest instrument for promoting harmony and civilization, would that ye might understand. We have appointed 2 signs for the coming of age of the human race. The first, which is the most firm foundation, we have set down in other of our tablets, whilst the second hath been revealed in this wondrous book. When Eshwa soul. Alhamdulillah, Baruch Hashem, Jayom, Hallelujah, Mado Aho, Vaigu, Satnam Hum, Shishishib. The story continues. Indeed, is unfolding before your eyes. I just finished transcribing, writing this weekly consideration in another facility. I'm currently in the facility adjacent where I basically reside for the past month and a half or so. It is raining outside, so I record this inside, and I post this on the website and record this to post also subsequently. However, the initial intention is for me to go from the place where I am, which there's some traffic and some people, and go to a quieter place inside to record this. So I return here to where the dorm unit here where I stay with other roommates. When I return, the door is locked, and it seems as though the key that I utilize is now deactivated or programmed otherwise. So it is evidence of Denmark taking action, or action being taken, I should say. So that's what the conditions are at this moment. My initial intention in recording this weekly consideration, I keep the writing of it brief. The initial intention is to give some kind of congruent discourse or congruent talk, bringing these different passages in a kind of unifying theme or a way of seeing it that corresponds with the theme or the weekly consideration of speaking silence with each one. But it seems as though the speaking silence is gonna stay somewhat low key today, because I intend to abstain from recording it. Presumably my materialities, including Holy Scriptures and additional items are still inside this unit. That's being presumptuous. I was away for maybe about and maybe 30 minutes, an hour, maybe. So I'm uncertain if things have been taken out or otherwise. It looks pretty much, from the outside, it looks pretty much the same as it previously is. But at this point, my intention is to stay here and wait the next actions. But that being said, well, actually, I do still have the propensity of recharging this battery. But at this moment, we're in a different zone at this point, in a different mode. So we're making preparations accordingly, and that is the weekly consideration for this moment. I am saying the concluding blessing after studying the scriptures. So, Alhamdulillah, Baruch Hashem. Alhamdulillah, Rahman Ibrahim, Allah Abha, Dao Kutao, Fei Chang Dao, Min Kaming, Fei Chang Ming, Ja. Deus nos Dekias and Chela Santa Fakito Nomentum, Vaheguru Satnam. Baruch Chata Elohim, Elohim Melech Elam, Meshakasano Bombezota, Vidzimalan Sokpur Vaitora. Amen. Kiri Elesom, Seva Mastu, Savajekatahim, Sabe, Sata, Bavantu Sukitadam. Fagabia. Aquaba, Upendo Naamani, Fikiri in the Sanami, Chintadam Panami, Lebovme, Womajaka. Umbutu Shabana Fikithga. Session, Kamasanina, Damo, Aragato, Pilma Yellow Wakatoko, Toko Dokashangun, Gumanagan. God, we thank you for all that you bless us. Father Jamia, the Fanami, Mado, Aho, Om Shanti, 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 Amen. Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, Mir, Jai Jinendra, Satnam, Zaijen, Adios, Che Chaklis, Sayonara, Metta Samadhi, Salangwa Pyongwa Eshwa Sol, Agape Kerini, Asimpena Asmuje, Kele Ufred, one love and peace, happiness, liberation.